A convenient distraction. Thancred is tired of waiting around. I'd say we're long overdue for a good turn. I can only hope the gods feel the same way. Now, Nuvi's leavings was to the south, was it? Let's get going. So I guess now we're looking for whatever substance. I don't know if it's supposed to be like a certain kind of ore or a gem or something that's the functions as the heart of these whatever they're called here. I can only think of golem. The way you described it, I was expecting the place to be abandoned. Perhaps our fortunes are finally improving, though we should probably hear what Guthjon has to say before we celebrate, assuming we can find him, that is. It was just, after reading that line from Thancred, like, the way you describe it, I was expecting the place to be abandoned. I mean, it's not exactly hopping, you know? Is this our man? Who are you? And what are you doing in here? Well, you should have listened to Thafe. You're wasting your time. But this site is not as developed as the others, is it not? Surely there must be something left. I should explain. The stone you're looking for is leonine. All the Talos in the Hills of Amber are powered using them. Talos, I forgot that's what it was called. Or were, at least. Anyway, whatever's left, if anything, is too far below to be safely excavated. In the deepest reaches of the mine, we use Talos to keep the pathways from collapsing. They're still there, but they could give out at any time, which is why much of the mine is closed off. Then our only option is to search the higher levels for any fragments of leonine that may have been overlooked. I suppose there may be one other way. Well, don't leave us in suspense. What you're asking for is a trade secret. I'll need to be duly compensated in exchange. Fine. What do you want? The other day, I found a Verbert gold piece down in the mines. A bloody Verbert gold piece. And wouldn't you know it, I dropped the damn thing somewhere while I was working. Find it, and I'll tell you what you want to know. You drive a hard bargain, sir, but we'll take it. It seems we have our work cut out for us, Lavenza. Thankfully, I have an idea for how we might hurry things along. I wasn't working that deep in the mine, so don't go searching too far. As I'm sure you've noticed, despite their best efforts to illuminate the corridors, it's rather dark in here, meaning it will be that much harder to find a single coin hiding in the shadows. That's why I propose we use these, sun drops. They help the eye take in more light. Why don't you start your search further in, and I handle this area here? I'll retrace your steps after in case you happen to miss it. If you feel the drop's effects wearing off, I can give you more, so don't worry. Dark sight. My guess is all it does is just give us the sparkles. Dark shadow. You search the shadows but find nothing. Perhaps the gold piece lies elsewhere. It would have been kind of interesting if that buff actually just fully lit the mine. I mean, you would still have the sparkles anyway, because that's just how things are done in this game, but you search the shadows but find nothing. Perhaps the gold piece lies elsewhere. Well, it looks like that's got to be it. As you search the shadows, a glint catches your eye. You turn over a rock and find the Verbert gold coin, or gold piece. I wasn't working. Oh, yeah. Same. I was hoping he'd drop the gold piece somewhere closer to the entrance. More fool me for thinking Lady Luck was on our side. Currency minted by the Kingdom of Verbert. Or Vobert. Whatever. Or maybe she is. Yours at least. In the end, my contribution was little more than poor company. Well, I couldn't have done it without your sun drops. Come now, Thancred. You are far more prepared for this task than I. I'll go with the first one. So you say, but you have a proven knack for success regardless of circumstances. I doubt very much I could have discovered it unassisted. I only managed to survive the Kurthan wilderness and the Imperial capital by virtue of extensive preparation, a habit of mine since childhood, and one of my few positive traits which endeared me to Louis Soix, I imagine. Damn, he's definitely down on himself today. It hasn't been easy finding ways to compensate for my condition. Every tool and trinket has proven vital to my continued success, such as it is. Had I chosen to pursue the arcane arts rather than espionage, well, I'd rather not think on it. As long as I have the means to protect those dear to me, and to see my duties through, that's all that matters. Now let's hurry and see that return to Guthjon. The sooner we get back to Urianger and Minfilia, the better. I'd rather not stay here any longer than necessary. Let's get going. You're back. Wait, does that mean... Indeed, good sir. I'll be damned. You actually found it. Well, a deal's a deal. But don't think this means you'll find what you're after. Perhaps our luck really is starting to turn around. A dirty job. Luckily for you, Gutchan is a man of his word. To be honest, I wasn't sure you could pull it off. But you did, and I'm a man of my word. Come with me. I didn't even think earlier that I could mount in here. I hope you waited for the sun drops to wear off. They work wonders in the dark, but in the light of day, they'll only bring you pain. Ooh. Every time I step out of those mines, the sky seems to get brighter. I'd never leave them if the air weren't so stale. But you're not come to hear my grievances. You're after Leonine. First, I have to ask, you ever heard of rockworms? Rockworms? I know them by another name, though I'm fairly certain the locals call them knockers. Aye, that they do. Whatever you want to call them, those little bastards may be the answer to your troubles. They can fit through cracks and crevices down where we could never hope to reach. And on occasion, they come back with something valuable. They dig up Leonine in the mines? It's a rare occurrence, but yes. That said, it usually amounts to no more than a few flakes. Well, our only other option sounds tantamount to suicide, so how can we draw out these rockworms? Over by that shack, you'll find a bag full of smoke bombs. Set off a few in the mines, and you'll flush them out in no time. Once you're out in the open, or once they're out in the open, knock them senseless and check their backs. I should warn you, this method of mining, if you can even call it that, is used as a last resort on account of what little they're like to bring back. You'll want to cover as much ground as you can if you hope to find anything of value. Assuming you do find something, bring it here and I'll have a look. We should split up if we're to cover more ground as he suggests. If you can cover these 3 areas on your map, I'll see to the parts between them. The smoke bombs are on top of the crates next to the shack just over yonder. You can't miss them. Okay. I can mount. I remembered this time. Saw some sparkling there, but that was just a spell. The acrid smoke from bombs such as this is said to drive knockers into a frenzy. Oh, this is where we were earlier. The air in the mines grows thick with smoke. Nearby you hear the soft rumbling of stones. I was expecting worms. Didn't they say they were called rock worms? So I'm gonna have to do this 5 more times. Looks like it. This might actually be one of the more grindy quests. You know, in a, you know, go collect 10 bear asses kind of way. I mean, at least we're guaranteed one every time, but it's still... not a quick moving quest. A quick progressing quest. I mean, it's not bad. I would say it's just, it's not what we're used to. You know, usually it's just run over here, fight one thing, and then move on. Not that process times 7. Hi, geez, come on. Alright, one more. Looks like it's over there. Yep. Alright, there we go. I found my fair share of rocks. Hopefully there's leonine among them. There you are. Find anything promising? Glittering rock. A chunk of rock taken from the hide of a knocker. Between the two of you, I'd say you've got quite the haul. Best get comfortable, friends. It's going to take time for me to sift through all this. So much time it warrants a cutscene.
You may not remember this about Arminfilia. But prior to founding the Path of the 12, long before the Scions, she was something of a miner. After her father died, Flamine took her in and taught her the trade. I think they were both seeking to fill the void left by a loved one. Maybe that's why she took to it so readily. Back in those days, I spent most of my time in the Quicksand, or some other tavern, loosening tongues and gathering secrets. Occasionally, I'd catch a glimpse of her in the street, on her way home after another hard day's work. I always felt a wave of relief when I saw she'd come back safe, along with a pang of guilt at the fact I wasn't there to support her as I should have been. Simply speaking with her more than once in a blue moon would have been a good start, but I could never bring myself to do it. Instead, I threw myself into my work and became every drunkard's best friend.
So I'm not getting what their relationship was at the time. I mean, did he even know her? Because the best I can recall from what we've seen, and again, I played a little bit of 1.0, and I don't even think far enough to really get into the MSQ there. But you see that cutscene at the beginning of the Gubu going wild and Ul'dah. But from what we've seen so far in this game, it's implied that he has, and this is mostly from, I think, like the last one of the the very previous quests, that he had something to do with that Gubu going loose, and he felt bad for Minfilia losing her father, and then like that's it. I don't know if he said anything about his relationship with her after that point, up until what he's saying now. I can't imagine she thought too highly of you back then. Not your finest hour, to say the least. I'll go with the second one, I think. Because the first one's kind of presumptuous that, on what Minfilia would think.
Far from it. And Flamine has never let me live it down. But that was a lifetime ago. Here and now, I have another chance to do things right, and I will not squander it again.
Hey! Come and see what I found! You're not going to believe this.
Tell me it's Leonine.
It is at that. You lot were born lucky. It's mostly broken pieces. But look at this.
This is a rather fine specimen.
It's been decades since we found anything approaching this big. But that's not all. There's an engraving on it.
Oh, I think it's a message from the wife.
Ah, these scratches here. They're a little hard to make out. To my beloved Magnus and Schoolie.
Yes! Do you see? It was a gift to Magnus from his wife. She found it. She really found it. She must have spent her final hours carving this message into the stone, in the hope that he might see it one day. Those rock-backed bastards must have made off with it before we could clear a path to her. It's fate that brought you here to find this stone. No other explanation. It makes me wonder what else might still be buried in these parts.
I couldn't imagine that. Dying in a cave-in. And not even... You know, there's dying in... Like, during the cave-in. Like, it falls on you and you die. And then there's being trapped inside. And dying of... I don't know, you know, starvation, dehydration, lack of air. Thank you for watching this video. Tonight's stream was fantastic. We finished off the, I guess, second half of the Almarang story, which is great because it's the whole Minfilia Terrene thing, which is just beautifully done. I mean, Thancred's fight with Ranjit and how that ended is just fantastic. We started on the Calusia stuff, ending right with the big Vothri revelation, and him flying off to Mount Kolk. So next stream we'll be hitting that up, which is exciting. So yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed this. I hope you did too. If you did, even if you didn't, please like, comment, and subscribe. Yeah, if you want to join me live, the link to my Twitch, the link to my Twitch is down below. So please come join me. And until then, thank you.